Yeah. All right, Doug, coming off, two road wins there, especially Saturdays where you had to, they came back and, punched you, and you guys kind of came back and answered in the second half. I guess what can you take away from that game specifically on Saturday?
Well, I thought we faced some adversity certainly this weekend in both games, and I think that's really important for us because it develops additional resiliency, and I thought our young ladies did a good job of maintaining their composure, and that's really important for us moving forward. So kind of really proud of how our young ladies handled that type of adversity.
All right. Last time you guys played South Dakota State, obviously got them at home. Now you're having to go up to Frost. You played there a couple times last year, but it wasn't to the full capacity that it should be on Saturday, I guess. How are you kind of just preparing them for that environment?
Yeah, great question. I think certainly the fans will make it an incredible opportunity for our young ladies to play in front of an excited arena, and I think that's something that it was good for us to have a little taste of that. I thought at North Dakota, I think Mallory and her staff and their athletic department have done a great job of kind of building that up. So, we've seen a little bit of that. Certainly it'll be at a higher level and on Saturday. The good news is we've have some players who have played in that environment, and those players are going to have to be the ones to kind of help keep us in the right frame of mind.
Yeah, South Dakota State's obviously they've last 6 games offensively have been playing at a high level. You guys have been very good offensively, but also very good defensively. How do you think those two styles will kind of clash on Saturday?
Well, I think certainly South Dakota State's playing at a high level and actually on both ends of the ball in the last 6 games. So I think they're not only scoring it very quickly, very efficiently, but they're also getting stops at a very high level. So I think we're going to do our best to try to challenge them on both ends of the ball, and certainly I think it's an opportunity for us to learn and to grow and get better, and it's going to be an opportunity to learn that in a very tough environment.
All right, hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. How much different is South Dakota State as Maya Sellen starts to get healthy?
Oh, Maya Sellen is a great player, obviously, and the player of the year in our league last year, and someone who can make you pay in a lot of different ways. She's strong. She can get to the rim. She can post up aggressively. She can shoot it. She can put it on the floor and make things happen. And that's just on the offensive end. So certainly a player that gives them an awful lot, and they can kind of build around. But they also have other players who have size, length, athleticism, and can really shoot the ball and make things happen too.
As for a player on your team, this could be Hannah Shervin's last game against SDSU, although counting for we could certainly see this in the tournament. She's always kind of been a thorn in their side. They've never really had a defense for her, no matter who they've had. Does she kind of relish this game a little more? I mean, do you kind of see that when it's state week for her, maybe you see a little different look in her eyes?
Well, I don't know if I would say that you see a different look in Hannah's eyes. I would say that Hannah is someone that we rely a great deal upon, regardless of who we're playing. And I thought she played at a really high level, certainly against North Dakota in our last game. And hopefully we can continue to build off that momentum and keep her kind of going with that.
And finally, I mean, your program's had some success now in Frost Arena. I know, again, last year was kind of weird with the fact, as Sean said, that we didn't have the full capacity, but the program's had more success in Frost Arena. What about this venue? What about the venue itself? Have you been able to kind of, I guess I'll rephrase it. What about your team has allowed it to kind of go in there and play well many times going to that venue?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that's really special in terms of what we do or the setup itself. I just think our young ladies are really going to be tested. I think it's a very challenging environment because you're playing against a great opponent who can really score in so many different ways, and so you can't just lock down 1 or 2 kids. You really have got to be sound one-on-one for against 5 kids, and then your team defense rotating has to be really good, and then you got to finish plays because they're rebounding at such a high level. So I think it's more just an opportunity to play, and then have certainly, I think it's going to be a loud environment. I think that's something that is fun for players to be involved in, and we've got to approach it as it's something that we enjoy as well. And hopefully some of the fans that are there are actually wearing red. That'd be great for us, wouldn't it?
Don, I know that the girls haven't played as much of a grind as schedule as the men have, but how nice is it just having this week off a little bit and just getting healthy if a couple girls are banged up, or just getting their legs back under them?
Yeah, I think we've been fortunate because we've had consistency in our schedule, and not everybody has been able to have that, and our men's program is a program that hasn't been able to have that. And so that's been advantageous for us, I think, from a planning standpoint. At the same time, it is, the bye week is something that we can approach it a little bit differently, give them an extra kind of day of recovery, have some more time to really work on us and our development. And so I think that's really important. At the same time, it's a shorter trip so they can stay in classes a little bit longer. That's certainly important, especially when we've got high achieving academic young ladies. That creates a great stress for them when we're on the road. So all those things, are opportunities. This is our last time, certainly, to turn around and do that. So we've got to make sure that we are not only, working to improve us, but also trying to find that balance and give us some opportunities to recover too.
And how advantageous is it that the bye week does come right before playing state the second time?
Yeah, that's the interesting part of the schedule, the way it's set up. It's a matter of a fact of that matter of with the schedule, and there are certainly aspects with the schedule that people really enjoy, and there are probably a lot of the aspects of the schedule that people aren't really enjoying. I think it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult. We were actually able to kind of watch our men's game while we were traveling back this weekend, and that's one of the very few games I've had a chance to actually see our men play. So, there are advantages to it and there are disadvantages to it. This is one where, hopefully we have some time to kind of heal up some people that are a little bit banged up or feel a little bit better.
How healthy is this team right now? Are there any? I'm sure there are a couple minor injuries, but how healthy is the team right now?
Yeah, that's always a trick question, isn't it? So, but I think our kids do a good job of trying to make sure that they're doing whatever they can to stay as healthy as possible, recover as much as possible, whether that's, how their nutrition aspect, their kind of hydration aspect of it, their sleep aspect of it. And, so I think there's a lot that goes into it, and they're trying to do the things they can do. And then there's certainly things that happen that are just out of your control too. And, so they're trying to do a good job of controlling what they can and making sure that they're trying to get their bodies feeling as healthy as you can for the end of January, the first part of February, because it's a long year, especially when we've all been at it really since June, and then you take a couple breaks in there, but ultimately, your body's taken off a lot of beating at this point in time. It's a grind physically, mentally, and so trying to keep us recharged and rejuvenated is also a big part of what we need to be aware of at this time of the year.
Hey, Don. Obviously, Hannah had that huge game against North Dakota. I guess what changes about your offense when, Hannah's able to score that much?
Yeah. Well, it really opens things up, for us inside when Hannah's able, to kind of stretch it a little bit the way she did. And then when that happens, now that gives other players opportunities around the rim. And so that we didn't see as much of that necessarily in the North Dakota game, just based upon how they were kind of packing the lane in. But then Hannah was also able to, make some shots and kind of make that advantageous for us with the way she was really hunting some shots. And just fun, because I think it's something that she's really been working on in her game and growing, and certainly something fun to see it pay off for her.
In that first game matchup with State, Maya hit a few quick threes, and then you were able to pretty much effectively take her out of the game. I mean, how do you defend a player like that when she starts to get her shot going?
Yeah, a tough matchup, because she can really, if you don't get all the way out, she can really shoot it. She's very aggressive. But if you do, then she can put it on the floor, and if you cut her off, she can do some things to kind of make the next move and make things difficult for you. So just a young lady who has an awful lot of tools and presents some great challenges for defenses.
Any additional questions for Coach?
Yeah, Don, I had one more. You mentioned not seeing the men's team play, and of course, obviously, your game's at 2. The men's state U game is at 7. How much would you like to see a shift away from this mirror scheduling format, whether it's going back to double headers, or I know one year they played a women's game on Saturday and a men's game on Sunday. Would you prefer something else other than kind of having to make the fans choose between which game to go to?
I think it's been a challenge for our fans. You know, I think certainly there are quite a few that will text after our games. They're at the men's games watching, you know, trying to watch the men's games, but also follow us online at the exact same time. I think it presents some challenges that way. I hope this weekend that our Coyote fans will go up to Brookings and buy some tickets and come watch us up there, and then get back down here in time for the men's game. So this is a weekend where it works, but our fans have to travel, you know, a little bit in between to be able to do that, certainly. But yeah, I think it's provided some challenges for our fans, and I think that they're trying to split their attention and watch both at the same time, but certainly there are challenges with doing that. And I think it's from our player standpoint, they like supporting the other student athletes, you know, and the sport that you're around the most is the same sport that you're in, and men's and women's basketball typically have a chance to watch each other and cheer for each other, and that's been obviously we haven't been able to do that this year, so that's been a challenge with it.